Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky Setra. I hope you're all doing well. Once again, I'm a UK registered nurse and I give tips and advice to overseas nurses who are planning to relocate to the UK and those who are already here. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about step-by-step or essential guide for a successful nursing job application. This would be applicable to you if you're from overseas or you're already in the UK, you've been working as a band 5 and you want to move on to band 6, or you've been working at band 6 and you want to move to band 7 or 8. So if this sounds interesting to you, then you need to watch this video to the end. Remember to like, subscribe and share. Hi, welcome back to the video. So once again, we're going to be talking about essential steps for a successful nursing job application. This would be applicable to you if you are overseas or you are here once again, or actually if you're a care assistant and you want to change job or move to your band 2, you want to be band 3 and all that. So once again, I've got my list. I like to make points, so I'm going to be going through them. So as you are aware, every employer or recruiter wants the best candidate. So you need to make sure your application stands out, because there may be hundreds or thousands of people applying for the same job. So the first thing I've got to say is, one, before you even apply for the job, you need to research about the company, the hospital, or whatever facility it is, or the employer you are applying to. One option would be, if you are living in that city or that country, you can visit and just look around. Actually, if you want to apply for a job, you can actually contact, there's always a contact number for who the main recruiter or contact person is. So you can actually ring them or email them and speak to them about the job. And visiting the site is very important. Apart from that, if you're far away, you can search on Google on that particular hospital or company, see what other people or employees are talking about or saying about their employer. Just go on review. So type in the name of the hospital and search on the reviews, staff reviews or patient reviews. Sometimes patient reviews can be off-putting, because most people who put their reviews there are people who are not happy about their care. And you'll see a lot of people as well who have been, happy with whatever care they've received, but you'll get a mixed opinion from patients. And check on staff reviews as well. Some will tell you it's a fantastic employer and all that. So that's quite very important before you even apply to any trust as a hospital or employer. The next one is to get to know the values or the mission statement of that employer. Every employer would put their values. The hospitals you work at, mine have their values and all that. And when you go for an interview, you would be asked about some of the values. And so you need to, those values, majority, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to go into any politics. The second one is read on the job requirement. Before you apply at all, you need to look at the job description. What is the requirement about the job? How do you meet that? Find out what qualifications are required for the job. Prepare and update your CV and references to suit that job. I remember when I was in my previous role and we were recruiting a band 6 nurse at the time. When we were shortlisting, we realized somebody used the same application that they used for a completely different job for the particular job they were applying for. So you just realize this person is not a serious candidate, so you will not shortlist that person for the job. So make sure each time you update your application. I know in the NHS, when you apply for one job, it saves all your information and everything, but where you have to make sure you update is your personal statement, which we're going to be talking about later. As well, you need to, as I said, prepare or update your CV. That is very important. Prepare your cover letter or your personal statement. That is very important. And in the personal statement or supporting letter, you're going to be explaining why you are the best fit for the position, why they should choose you, why you are the best candidate, or why you are the preferred candidate. You need to talk about certain trainings or qualifications, your experience, certifications you have, and what skills you have to bring to this new job. So you need to explain all that. Once again, I'm going to be talking about that, and I'm going to go through one of my own personal statements with you if you want to know about it. Anyway, the next one is now completing your online application, and make sure you provide accurate information or accurate answers to all the questions that you would be asked. Make sure you do not lie, because you'll be caught out in the interview time. And then after your application, you need to make sure that you check for accuracy, all your grammar, everything you have written, go through and make sure it makes sense before you submit. And after submitting, you wait for response. And then the next stage is how you're going to be preparing for your interview. So I have printed off a Band 6 job specification. So when you're applying, as I said before, look at the job description. What is the job about? How do I fit that? What skills do I have? So I have got a Band 6 job specification, which I printed out. So when you are applying for a job and you get to the person specification, this is one of the most important aspects of the application. These are some of the things, or this is what they look at to shortlist you, to make sure you meet the requirement for the job. So for this is a specialist nursing role in the UK. So if you're coming from overseas, you can't apply straight for a Band 6 job. So this is for nurses who are here. If you're coming from overseas, you're applying for nursing jobs, then you still have to look at it, the person specification, and answer how you meet those criteria. So we are going to work on a specifically Band 6 person specification. So here we are. If you look at the person specification, there are 4 different sections on it. I'm going to be showing you on the video as well. So the first one is the criteria for shortlisting. The second column is about the essential requirements, and then they look at the desirable requirement, and then the other part or section is about the stage at which these different sections are measured at. So one would be measured at application, another would be measured at interview, another maybe you may be required to do a test. So first of all, for this particular person specification, the first on the list is commitment to the trust values and behaviors. That is why you need to know what the trust values and behaviors are. So they would want you to say or to demonstrate behaviors, your behaviors that are consistent with the hospital or trust or company's trust values, or so you have to look at that. You have to familiarize yourself with those. So that is very essential on the sheet. And then the next aspect is about your training and qualification. So for example, it says you should be a first level adult nurse for this particular role. And then you should have post basic specialist qualification or willingness to undertake that training. So if it's a specialist area, sometimes you don't necessarily need experience in that specialist area. So you should show, if you don't have experience in that specialist area, you should show that you are willing to learn. And then you should have a recognized teaching qualification. So for a Band 6 role, ideally you need a recognized teaching qualification, and also you need evidence of post-registration educational and continuing development. If you haven't got any, go online, find something online that suits the job. So for this particular job, so I've gone through the essential. The desirable is you should have a recordable specialist qualification at a degree level or clinical leadership program. If you don't have that, just say you're willing to learn. And they actually wanted a 3 years post qualification experience. So if you've been a nurse for 3 years, so if you're an overseas nurse and you've come to the UK, back home you have 10-15 years of experience, give yourself 1 year or 18 months experience in the UK and start applying for band 6 jobs. Because first of all, you need to understand the system, you need to understand how things work before you start applying. And if you're already here as an overseas nurse and you've been working for 6, 7, 10, 20 years and you're still band 5, you say your experience, you say you've got 10 years, 5 years experience at band 5 and A, B, C, and D. So this is what you're going to be using to write your personal statement. So for example, let's say training and qualification, I'm going to be reading through my own personal statement. So you will know how I went about it and how I've been able to get all the job applications that I've applied through and got the interview and also got the positions that I've applied for. So the next one is year experience. So it says 3 years post-registration experience, clinical experience at band 5. So they want you to have been a band 5 for 3 years or more. They need evidence of management or leadership skills and autonomous practice, evidence of continued professional development. That is essential. So let's say you don't have that. Just say on the ward, I led teams or I took charge, and you supervise staff, junior staff. You need to write out how you meet that particular, requirement. And the next one is about communication and relationship skills. So over there, the essential requirement is you should be an effective communicator. So how would you demonstrate that you are an effective communicator? You should have leadership and motivation skills. If you're self-motivated, then you can motivate others. Ability to motivate self and others. So that's very important. You need to write how. So each of these sections, you use them as a paragraph. The next one is about analytical and judgment skills. So they want to know whether you can problem solve or you have problem solving skills, organizational and negotiation skills. And then another one is about skills. They want you to have teaching and assessment skills. You should be diplomatic, you should be assertive and confident. So how would you demonstrate that? So each of these things, you use them as I said, you use them as a paragraph. And then another one is planning and organizational skills. So you should have the ability to work both on your own initiative and within a team, and you should be flexible. So you just have to write that. And then another one is about equality and diversity and inclusion. So it says that you should be able to demonstrate a commitment to and understanding of the importance of treating people and all individuals with dignity and respect appropriate to their individual needs, which we all do in our nursing career. So you just have to do, in my current role, I do A, B, C, and D. And the last bit I can see, it's about other requirements that are specific to the role. So every role have got other requirements. So for this particular role I was looking at, they need someone who has cannulation or phlebotomy skills or willingness to train. So if you don't have the skills to cannulate, you don't have the skill to take bloods, you just say, although I do not have the skills, I am willing to learn. And that's all they need. So that is an example of a person specification. So once again, if you're applying for a job and you get to the stage where you have to write your personal statement, all you have to do where it says, I'm looking away again, where it says, let's start all over. I'm just looking at it quickly. So where it says behaviors about the trust, so you use that as your first paragraph, and then choose one of the trust values, or write all of them and choose one and write to based on the question you're asked. The next one is they are asking of your teaching, whether you have teaching and qualification skills. Say, I have done my teaching and qualification skills this year or that year. That's another paragraph. When it comes to experience, they want 3 years post-registration experience. Say, I'm a UK registered nurse, or if you're coming from overseas, you say what you have, and then I have got this number of years of experience at band 5, and then you answer the rest. Then you go to the next point, like communication and relationship skills, and then you answer that question. You go to analytic and judgmental skills, answer that question in another short paragraph, and then the skills you have to just say. So I'm going to be going through one of my old job application, and I'm going to be reading through my supporting information or personal statement which got me the job. So once again, these are the difference. So I've done them according to the person specification. So the first thing is, I've applied for this job. You have to introduce why you are interested in the job, why they should take you. So I said, I've applied for this post because I feel it is a great opportunity for me to develop professionally in a new specialty, develop personally and learn new things, and contribute my nursing knowledge and experience in the development of that service. The next stage I went to answer is about my experience. So I have been a nurse or a registered adult general nurse on the NMC register for 12 years, of which 5 years as a staff nurse on the ward. I have a bachelor's degree in nursing with psychology. I have undertaken the professional education in practice. So that is the teaching and practice or teaching and assessment course. So I've answered that in that short paragraph. And then the next stage, sorry, I've got a bit of a cough. The next stage, I think that is about experiences. I said, I worked as a specialist nurse at band 6 from 2009. So this is was for a band 7 job I applied. So I said, I worked as a specialist nurse at band 6 from 2009 and had an added role. Therefore, my job was evaluated and upgraded to band 7 since 2012. I've worked as a community nurse for for about 7 years. I have been involved in teaching health visiting students with regards to that specialty area. I teach patients and parents about their specific medical condition, how to manage themselves in order to reduce unnecessary hospital admissions. I have undertaken patient satisfaction surveys to help improve a service. We provide our own patient groups. I have taken part in telephone interviews as part of research. So there was something about research. So I tried to answer all that. The next one is I undertake telephone liaison with patients, other health professionals, and sometimes assess patient over the phone and arrange for hospital admissions as required. So that was answering another aspect of the person specification. And the next one is I'm aware of my personal and professional limitations. I accept constructive criticisms and learn from them. Once again, I was answering one aspect of the person specification. The next one is I currently work in a nurse-led service without supervision. So I think that's about showing autonomy, whether you work to be able to work on your own or autonomous practitioner. So I said I work in a nurse-led service without supervision, hence autonomous practitioner, taking bloods and all those things. So I talked about all the little skills I've got there, and I also refer people on when required. The next stage is I am very professional and I communicate. So I think it's about professionality and communication. So I said I'm very professional and I communicate with patients with dignity and respect, bearing in mind their individual requirement. And then the next one is I always look outside the box so that I can provide seamless care to people under my care. And another thing I said, answering another question, is I have my own caseload of patients and I'm able to delegate duties. So I think that was about ability to delegate to others. So I did that. And another one is I deputize in the absence of the lead nurse. So I think that was about leadership. So even if you're not a manager and you're able to deputize for somebody, or you are able to actually lead a shift, then you can say that. And then I said, apart from as part of my current role, I act as an advocate for patients and families. I attend meetings and MDT meetings, And with use of computer or computer skills, I said I currently use a system called System 1 in a community, and I use all sorts of other computer related software or applications that are used in that hospital. So that is what I have written. And finally, I said, I am aware that this role will be challenging. I have not worked in that specialty before. However, I am willing to learn if I'm the preferred candidate. So, and they wanted to know if you're a car driver or you've got a license. And I said, yes, I am a car driver. So basically, that is how I previously answered. This application was from, I think, 2015, 2016. So that is how I went about my job application, and I've got it. And as I said before in some of my previous videos, the new job I've got now is the 7th job I've applied for, and I've been successful in getting them. So when you're applying for a job, take your time, read about the job, check about that company, and make sure you're making the right decision. And then you can start with the application, familiarize with the job description, look at what they are looking for. Have you got it? If you haven't got it, are you able to demonstrate that you are willing to learn? Sometimes they may already have people that they want to give the job to. That is a fact. Sometimes they have already earmarked somebody in their department and they feel, especially if it is a band 6 or band 7 or band 8 jobs, these things happen. But sometimes familiarity helps. If you're applying for a job, make sure when you start the application process, go and visit, email them, speak to somebody. They can put your name to, an application, although names are usually not used. So when we are shortlisting, or when I was shortlisting in the past, it comes with a reference number of that particular person. But by speaking to someone and saying, currently, this is what I'm doing, when I'm looking on that job application, I'll remember, this person contacted and said they're currently working in, although maybe I haven't seen you yet, or I have seen you, I know. And also, if you visit the place or you speak to somebody about the job, it shows that you are showing initiative, you are interested in the role. But if you sit back and then you just apply and you just go to the interview, then, you might get it. But usually, my last job I went to, I visited the site, although I already knew that department. I spoke to the consultant, I sat in her clinic to see what it's all about, and then I made up my mind whether I'll be able to do this or not. And I've never worked in that particular specialty, but I did it and I got the job. I interviewed well. So also on the person specification, you will see parts of the questions or aspects of the job that would be assessed at interview. So you need to look at those as well very well. So when you're looking at the person specification, you see one of them is, it would be measured at application. The next one, that particular aspect would be measured in interview. And then T, that particular aspect may be, assessed at a test, or maybe presentation, because sometimes you would have to do a presentation. So basically, that's what it is. So training and qualification, over here on this form, it says A, which would be application, and NMC pin check. They will check your NMC registration pin check. Something about experience, it says A, and interview and presentation. So there might be a presentation. So they would assess your experience during the application process, that's the shortlisting process, and at interview, and or during presentation. Sorry. Something about qualification, communication, and relationship skills. They're going to assess or measure that at A, application, maybe interview or presentation. Analytical and judgmental skill or judgment skills, it says A and O. So you will see all those things. So it can help you to prepare well for the interview. So I hope, after all the long talking, I hope this is helpful. It doesn't matter which job you're applying for, but this specification I talked about was an example of a Band 6 job and my personal statement that I used to secure a job before. I hope if you follow these things, these steps, it will help you, or this guide, it will help you in getting your next nursing position, be it Band 6, Band 7. I've always said, don't sit at one place. Yes, the higher you go, the more responsibility you have, but those who are there are not better than you. You can also do it. Never give up. If you apply for one and you don't get the job, apply for another. You need to keep going until you get what you want. Wishing you all the best. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.